Okay, I wanted to go over how you switch needles again to make sure it's clear. Here we go. I'm finishing at the last stitch of this, well, the end of this row. Okay, so here we go. Try to get it within view here. I had it way down there because I was waiting to get the camera started. Okay, there we go. That's the last stitch of that row, or that half a row. So I'm finishing up the row actually because here's my tail. So that's the finish of that row. I'm going to pull these all the way forward. So there's my needle. I'm going to turn it to the back. I always hold on to my yarn because I can get tangled with the needles. Hold it all the way to the back. Then I usually pull the back of this, the working part of that needle, and then push the rest of it in. Now when you get to this last stitch, this is the one that was on the cable when you started the other half of the row, and it's going to be tight, and that's good because that's what stops that slack. But you see it's tight, but it still pulls over onto the needle. And then you just start, knitting. When you do, I usually have my hands on the back of that cable, knit it, and I pull on that. You see how small that stitch gets because it's around this cable needle? That's what stops that gap going down a row when you do multiple needles. You usually have a gap there. Now the other thing, I don't know if you've noticed, that I did was I knit up a ways with what I was doing before, the beginning of it, which was the ribbing, knit 2, purl 2, and then I just went ahead and continued in stockinette stitch. Now, when you're knitting, you're knitting on the right side, unless you want to do something otherwise, but you have to really figure that out, which is the right side and which is the wrong side, because as you see, I'm going to pull this out and then I just turn it around again so I can knit on. If you keep knitting every row all the way around and around and around, you're going to get the stockinette stitch. The back side of it are all purls, see, which is different than the garter stitch. So if you keep knitting around and around and around, you're going to get the stockinette stitch. If you're making a hat and you want this side turned, let's say you're going to turn inside out, you see the garter stitch would then become the outside of the hat. Thank goodness for knit 2, purl 2, or any of your ribbings. You can usually inside and outside's pretty much the same. So you just flip it up and you see if you wanted to make your hat with the stockinette stitch on top, this folds over that easily and your hat's got the finished stitch out. If you need, well, you have to start manipulating your pattern to how you need it to work out, because you only can work one side. You don't turn it over and work the other side. So you're always working from one side only. Everything has to be done from there. The other thing, I'm going to show you the end. Right here, you see this little hole? That will tighten up as soon as you weave that end in, and it'll become just like the rest. It's just that, you see, it's your beginning stitch there all the time. It's not finished until you weave it in. So that's all that's about. But you notice that there's no, gap there between those stitches. It's all just one flat fabric. That's because of that tight loop on the cable. The same as the other side. I also want to note that because I put on 30 stitches instead of 32, and knit 2, purl 2 is a multiple of 4 stitches, not 2 stitches. So see, I would knit 2, purl 2 until I got to this end. You see, I don't have any purl 2s there because I didn't divide it by 4. I divided it by 2. Well, I didn't really care. But anyway, now I don't want these to be too long, so I'm going to stop this and start again because I want to show you how to put in markers.